So I'm like ripping plastic bags open and like putting them across my chest under my jersey and stuff like that. My big interest in cycling over the last like year and a half or so has been sort of the idea of like adventure riding. So basically like how far can you take it? How far can you go? How well can you plan for it? Logistically, what can you make happen? I just did my first adventure solo through the night in the mountains. I loaded up, I have like a bunch of gear that I'm testing out now because I do want to do some like bigger solo rides. So I was testing out a bunch of gear, testing out a bunch of like nutrition stuff and things like that. And on Monday night, I jumped on the train at 11 p.m. and then I started rolling at midnight, and I did GMR up to the Balti ski lifts, dropped down to East Fork, took East Fork over to the 39, and then rolled up to Crystal Lake from there. So that's this like really iconic route called the Lobster. But doing that at midnight solo was really challenging. I planned it at a time where I thought that the heat wave being gone was going to be beneficial, but unfortunately it was like freezing then the whole time through the night. So I ascended up, I got to Baldy lifts at like 3:30 in the morning, and it was freezing, like 40 degrees, and I have like a vest, and that's it. I like had these like little cloth kind of sock things that like I put over my hands. Fortunately, I had a bike with disc brakes, so like the braking was pretty easy to navigate on it. I have this like thing pulled up over my face. I'm like very underprepared for like this type of weather. And so from the top of Baldy, where it's really cold, I started descending down, and as commonly happens in the cold, there's like a really thick layer of fog that's now built up below the mountains. So visibility is like 10 feet now, and you're freezing, and you're descending, and you're alone, and it's dark everywhere, and all you have is a tiny little headlight that's like kind of just makes the fog brighter, so it's like not really even helping you that much. That was an adventure. That was an adventure for sure, and definitely like taught me a lot of things about how to ride smart when you're alone, how to be disciplined when you're alone. So that day after Crystal Lake, I think that day ended up being like almost 14,000 feet or something like that, but two very, very steep climbs sort of back to back. So then sort of since then, we've just been eyeing like bigger and bigger rides. And we put together a route from LA down to the border of Mexico and then back up to Los Angeles, and all continuous. So for that one, we rolled out sort of like early morning. The group got together. We started with like 9 people, and some people were just going to do a century, so they were going to go like 50 miles with us and then sort of double back, come back to LA. So I think the actual 300-mile group was maybe more like 6 or 7 people. And that one was incredible. We left early in the morning, shot down the coast pretty much the whole way to Mexico. Got there, hung out for a little bit, ate some food, and then just double backed and started coming back. Unfortunately, on that ride, I had a pretty unique experience. I ended up crashing out at mile 215. The accident happened as we were coming back up through Oceanside. There's a section of road where it used to go through, I think it's like Camp Pendleton right there. So you used to continue up the coast. Now it's different, and you need like a permit to go through Camp Pendleton. Apparently it's like kind of a headache. So the detour there, this is like the legit detour, is that you get on the 5 and you take the 5 freeway for like 7 miles, I think it is, or something like that. So we were on the 5 and kind of had a great pace line going, and unfortunately just something clipped my wheel, took me down, broke a couple spokes in my wheel, broke the fork on my bike, and so at that point, like, it's pretty much game over then. And so I just remember as it was happening, being on the side of the road, having to like crawl over to the side of the road, kind of taking like a little inventory of what was going on in my body and how I was feeling and exactly where I was at. And then asked about my bike. And that was a real depressing thing to be told like, no, your bike's pretty effed. Like, I don't think you can keep going. And fortunately, I had a really good friend in the area who was bringing us food overnight. And so she was able to come with her truck and pick me up, put my bike in the bed and everything like that. And I was able to get a quick ride home. So it was like sort of the least bad of a situation. Like, at least I wasn't stuck in Oceanside for an hour or two as somebody like had to come and pick me up or something. So to me, like, the situation, even though it went bad, it's like that just causes a moment to reflect and be like, well, then how do we do this better? You know what I mean? Like, what changes need to be made to make this a better, safer, guaranteed ride? So yeah, I would do that ride again.